Hi, Cancer, and welcome to your August 2025 tarot reading with me, Paula B. Energy. So glad that you're here. Let's do a quick prayer, calling in our angels, spirits, guides, and ascended masters so that the messages be clear and concise and for the highest good of everyone who sees this video. Thank you, and so mote it be. Okay, so your very first card is from the Divine Doors, and it's called Anthony's Call. In thanks of my spirit safe and sound, all things that are lost now can be found. Okay, interesting. So if you've got anything that's been lost, it's going to be found, Cancer. Your second card from the Language of Flowers Oracle is the Himalayan Blue Poppy, and it is potential. I'm hearing that blue relates to the throat chakra, Cancer, and so this month you're going to be focusing on the energy from the throat chakra. That has to do with your thyroid and parathyroid. It is also considered to be your higher heart, and it is where we speak our truth. Okay, now your past energy, so that's, if you're watching this in July, that's now through for the last 6 weeks. Oi, goodness sakes, 6 weeks, maybe 6 months since I'm saying that. Maybe they're trying to say that through me. Has been the Magician is your first card. The Magician is the energy of creation. It is you with your will, using your tools to create what you desire. It's pure potential, right? It's the beginning of creation. Love this card. It's one of my favorite cards in tarot because it really says you are the magic. So your second card from your past energy is the Eight of Pentacles. Now I'm going to say Eight of Pentacles, of course, is the card of mastery. It's the card of apprenticeship and doing something over and over and over until you become really, really good at it. Pentacles is earth energy. It has to do with our resources, how we are using our time, our energy, our health, our relationships, and our money, career, job, all of those things that support us. How are we continuing to perfect them, get better and better and better at them? It does signify work, Cancer. Okay, so you've been working, and the Ten of Wands really shows that you may even been feeling a little burdened with all of this work. However, keep in mind that this work is for a purpose. It's not just to grind, right? It's working towards a goal. In the story of the Ten of Wands, remember, Wands is fire energy. You don't really see any fire here except for it's way in the background there. You see the wands that have lit her way on her path. But Wands is fire energy. It's the energy of action. And it's the energy of connecting to source. So in the story of the Ten of Wands, it is a story of she's got these wands and she's carrying them to market. And we see she's got an oxen loaded down going to market. And the idea is that all of this work is for a purpose. She's going to sell all of that stuff and come home with a nice fat wallet. So all of this work that you've been doing is for a reason. It's not just to grind, just to be grinding. Okay, so that was your past energy. Coming into your present energy, your first card, Cancer, is the King of Cups. Of course, cups are always cards for water signs like you. The King of Cups is definitely a card of serenity. The king knows how to feel his emotions and not let them overwhelm him. Cups is the element of water and our emotions. And we see here he's very serene. So your present energy for the month of August is going to be one of serenity, of really getting a handle on your emotions, not letting them run away with you. You're in charge, Cancer. You're in charge. Your second card for your present energy, Cancer, is the Two of Pentacles. Again, earth energy. And we see here she's got a canteen, and then we see this fiery, I guess it's a sun. It might be Saturn, but it looks like more like a sun. Two of Pentacles. In the original depiction, it showed someone who appears to be juggling two pentacles. And so it's a card of, yes, there's work involved. Yes, you have resources and things that you're juggling. Maybe you're juggling the kids and a job and your relationship and your health and all of these things that you're juggling. However, you're doing it with ease. You're doing it. You have the ability to do it. You're making it look easy, right? So you can do it this month, Cancer, not a problem. You will have a lot on your plate, but it's not something that's just going to be overwhelming to you. And remember, it's for a reason. All right, now your third present energy card is the card of justice. So there's balance involved, Cancer. Really, you've got two cards of balance. Light and dark, up and down, fear and love. So you've got two cards of balance here. So balance is going to be really important to you this month, I'm going to say. And being able to take personal responsibility for your actions. The message that I'm hearing is, before you take an action, think about what the consequence of it is, and are you able to pay that consequence? That's the number one thing. All right, now future energy, it starts out a little scary looking and then gets like really good. So here we go. Three of Swords. Now, Swords energy is air energy. It has to do with our mind, right? So don't let the heart thing throw you off, because what we see here is someone who has had some sort of heartbreak or is having the mental realization of that, right? And they're very much into expressing the pain of it. So Swords has to do with that throat chakra, right? It's air energy. How do we make sounds? Air. It takes air to do that. And communication comes from the throat chakra. We talked about that in the beginning. And this is where we communicate, right? And those communications come from our mind, our thoughts, but they come out through our throat chakra. So this might be a month where you have some feelings that you are having to express in some sort of way. It might be verbally. Maybe you have a trusted friend or your partner, a therapist, somebody that you're able to get this out. It's going to be really important for you to get it out, right? Maybe you don't have somebody. And in that case, you always have spirit. I recommend to do some journaling, maybe even automatic writing, or even just lock yourself in your room and tell everybody, ignore the sounds I'm making, and just verbalize it out loud if you need to. You're going to need to get it out. That's the message I'm getting. Let it out. All right, your future energy second card is the Empress card. See, I told you it was going to get better. All right, so the Empress card is the card of abundance. We see that she's pregnant literally with the earth. So the Empress this card is always about abundance, manifestation, getting the things that you want and desire, being able to create, right? Birth is creation, fertility, creative ideas, all of those things. So if you can, all right, so the message I'm getting, Cancer, is if you can let out the things that you need to let go of, and I'm going to say it's emotions. If you can verbalize or communicate those this month, it's going to clear out that old energy for you, and that brings in room for the new energy. Okay, and with that comes a new perspective. You have the Hanged Man. This is a card of Pisces, but also all water signs. And this is a sacrifice so that you can have a new perspective. So don't be afraid of letting that out. It's going to give you a new perspective. It's going to help you create. Okay, what are your challenges this month? Well, number one challenge is the Six of Pentacles. Again, earth energy. The Six of Pentacles is the card of charity. We see someone who is giving their coins or their resources to someone else. In the original depiction of this card, however, it often shows someone who has the scales, and they're actually putting coins and they're weighing, okay, what am I keeping here that I need to cover my own expenses, and what's extra that I can give out. So your challenge this month is giving too much of yourself. Well, Cancer, honestly, that's always your challenge. So that's not a big surprise at all. But you're going to be more aware of that this month, particularly as you are able to release some of that emotion. Your second challenge is the Five of Swords reversed. So that's what the card looks like reversed. Here's what it looks like upright. So Five of Swords is typically thoughts that are, it's confusion, right? And we see here literally thoughts are falling out of his head. So I'm going to say that you're going to have a time period in the month of August, Cancer, where you're going to feel a little bit confused in your mind. And that's because your mind is trying to comprehend what the emotions you're feeling are, and you're trying to articulate them. You're trying to order them in your head so that you can express them. That will be a challenge for you this month. Your third challenge, I don't know how this is a challenge. We're going to find out. Ace of Cups. So typically this is an offer of love. Aces are new beginnings. Cups is our emotional, is all about emotions because it has to do with the element of water. So this is definitely a card for a water sign. I'm going to say that you've got some love in your heart that needs to be born. It can't come out yet. You are a little confused about things and you need to, okay, so this feels like she's holding this to herself, right? Like she's protecting it almost. It's starting to come forth, but her heart is a little bit protected. What I'm feeling from here is it's almost like you've got this shield right here, and you're afraid that if you let go of that it'll just come blasting out and you'll be empty. That's not going to happen because love has no boundaries, and love doesn't have an end. It's an endless wellspring, okay? So don't be afraid to let it out and let the love out. All right. Now, blessings. Your blessings row, you have the Knight of Swords. Now take a look. Knight of Swords, again, swords energy. So you've got a lot of mental stuff going on this month, Cancer. The Knight of Swords is a very swift knight. He can be very decisive. He is able to see the truth of something and really take action, specifically communicative action. But what we see also in this is it looks like his motorcycle has kind of run away from him and he's kind of running after it. So don't let your words run away with you. In your effort to express your emotions, I want to be really clear. And clarity is where the blessing comes in here. You need to be very clear about how you're communicating. So if you decide that you are going to express these emotions to other people around you, please don't just dump it all on them. Please say, look, I'm going through some stuff. I need someone to listen. Do you have the capacity to do that? Because somebody might not have the capacity right then. They might not. And that's okay. You know, we all don't always have the capacity to hold space for another. So that's going to be where the blessing comes in, is you're going to be able to see the truth and go, oh, okay, I need to really ask and make sure that the person can do this before I just dump all over them. And you know, you don't want to do that. So there we go. Your second blessing is Queen of Swords. You're going to have a lot of discernment at your beck and call. You're going to be able to be logical, not just emotional. I like this for you, Cancer, because it shows that there's balance. You've got that, you know, that necessity for balance with the Justice card and the Two of Pentacles. How do you get the balance? Well, you get the balance by seeing the truth of something. So you might have all these emotions, and I'm going to be honest, emotions don't make sense. They have nothing to do with logic, right? We feel what we feel. So sometimes that's really overwhelming. And one of the ways that we can help process those big feelings is to be able to see the truth of a thing. So if what you're dealing with is something from the past, which is usually what our emotions are all about, then you're going to need to be able to really see the truth of what was the reality of that situation from the past. I know I feel this certain way about it, and those feelings were brought on by how I was in that situation, but was that really the reality of it? For instance, maybe you had something traumatic happen in your past, and now you're looking back at it with the eyes of an adult, but maybe it happened to you when you were a child. Now you can look at it and go, oh, okay, I see that a little bit differently because I'm not the child any longer. Yes, the emotional part of me still feels those feelings of what I felt as a child, and I have to deal with those emotions and process them. But the truth of the situation was XYZ. And by the way, pardon if you hear lawnmower, somebody's mowing next door. So the blessing is going to be that you're able to see that truth, and you're going to be able to be detached from it. You won't have that emotional wham that comes along with it. I like that. Your third card for your blessing card is fantastic. It is the Nine of Cups. This is your card, Cancer. I always think of Cancer with the Nine of Cups. Look at that. All those cups are just flying out from her. That's all the emotions, right? It's dreams. It's wishes coming true. It's feeling that heart energy just pouring out of you and knowing that you can create the life you desire. That is a true, true blessing. And when you're able to transmute those emotions into positive action, Cancer, that is such a blessing. I love it. The energy underlying the entire reading, this card was on the bottom of the deck, is the High Priestess. This is a card of Pisces, but all water signs. And this is the card that says you have the inner knowledge. You have the ability to do this. You are the magic. So the High Priestess, I like it that the first card and the last card. So this is the power couple of tarot. You are the magic and you have the knowledge. So the Magician has a bunch of tools and he has the will, but the High Priestess, she's got the secret knowledge and that sure inner knowledge that you can act from with confidence. So you have the ability to do this, Cancer. It is within your power. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but most things that are worth it are not. All right, your final message is from the Whispers of Healing, and your card is Triggers. I think that's interesting. Can't make this stuff up. All right. The occurrences or circumstances in your life may affect you on a deep level and be stored in your memory as wounds or triggers. Your ego can become defensive due to the emotional wounds you carry with you. Once a wrongdoing has happened in your life, it cannot be undone, but you choose how to handle the outcome. There is no single situation you cannot overcome. You can detach from the triggers, but you must have the will and desire to do so. Authentic healing means accepting past traumas, sadness, depression, and disappointments. From here, you can choose to accept responsibility for your emotions and your triggers. When you neutralize the stories from your past, they lose their grip on your present happiness. Holding on to pain limits your ability to live life to the fullest. It is time to disconnect the switch and stop allowing a past situation to control your current actions. You are being challenged to live in this moment. Ooh, okay, that was powerful. I don't read these ahead of time. I meditate and meditate on your sign and then allow whatever card comes out, but I don't read them ahead of time. So that was pretty amazing that went along with your reading. I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Cancer. I hope you liked it. Please do all the YouTubey things. Which platform are we on? We're on YouTube. Okay, sorry about that. And I hope you'll join me for next month. Bye.